Hey guys, wanted to take some time and give you an update about the summer, some things that we now have some information on. Before we do that, want to remind everybody that tonight at 7 o'clock we will have our regular life group on Zoom. It'll be the same link that we've used before. I will send that back out in a text message so that you've got that as well. So 7 o'clock typically is going about an hour, and I hope you'll encourage your teenager to come and join us. One thing I'm going to do is, so here's how I'm going to structure this because there's a lot that we need to cover. So first thing we're going to do is just talk about some updates about the summer. And then if you want any more information, you can keep on listening. You don't have to if you don't want to, but just want to give you as much information as I can in this video. You are welcome also to call me or text me if you have any questions. I am more than willing and happy to answer any of those for you. But like I said, just wanted to give you some information. So first things first, we all know I sent this email out yesterday, unfortunately, and that is that Bandina has been canceled. So that's the first big blow. And then today, some more shoes wound up dropping, and I say shoes because there's a couple. The first one is that ACU has decided to suspend all summer camps for the 2020 year. So that means not just ACU leadership camps, although that's the big one that hits us with Kadish. That's canceled, but also they do tons of sports camps and educational camps and other things there on campus, and they're all closed. So unfortunately, that's the next shoe that has dropped. And then finally, another big one, and that is that Trek is going to be canceled as well. So I'm going to get into some more detail towards the end of this video. But the other thing I want to mention for a moment is our intern status. So unfortunately, kind of where we're at right now at Grace Crossing is we have had to just suspend all spending right now, except for essential things. And there's some things that are essential at our church that we have to keep moving. Okay, and so for those things, we are relying on continued contributions and things like that to just continue to keep ministries flowing and moving. Um, but one of the unfortunate hits is that I had to relay some news to our interns that we were going to be unable to pay them this summer. And we had hired a female. Many of you have met her. Her name is Cecia. And we have also hired another guy. His name is Luke. Luke's a guy that I've known for a very, very long time, since he was 5 years old. I've known his family for a long time. And so I had to inform him as well that we're unable to spend the money and pay interns this summer. So one of the things that we did was we got kind of creative and said, listen, what we can do is we can offer you a place to stay for the summer. And with that comes basically room and board, right? Um, we will also provide some expenses for them as well for things related to ministry. However, those are going to be fairly minimal, especially now that we're not doing any trips. So unfortunately, Cecia is in a position with her family that she's just not able to make that commitment, but Luke is. So Luke has committed to come and intern with us this summer. So we do have an intern for this summer, but at the moment, as it stands today, beginning of April, Cecia is unable to be with us, which is heartbreaking. It's sad. It's unfortunate. But I wanted to give you that update in regard to our interns as well. Now, who knows? Some things may change. Statuses can change. Things are so fluid right now, and new information is coming out all the time. This is unprecedented, right? I mean, we just don't know what's going to happen. But wanted to give you that information, and we'll keep you updated as much as we can. So that's the information. Now, if you want to be done with the video now, you're welcome to. But I'm going to go ahead and get into some more specifics just to give you some information so that you're aware of what's going on. Let's start with Kadish. So I'm good friends with the director. In fact, the job that I had coming out of college was with this guy. His name's David Moses. Great guy. He's the director of ACU Leadership Camps. I called him on Monday and I said, "Hey man, where are we at this point?" He said, "Man, I don't know yet, but I'm waiting. I should know something by tomorrow, and then some information is going to come out on Wednesday." Well, it's Wednesday, and one of the things that ACU has done is they have suspended everything on campus through the end of June. That happened before we knew anything about ACU leadership camp. So for them to come and say, "Sure, we'll bring tens of thousands of kids onto our campus that we don't really know," we're gonna allow that to happen. That just wasn't a good choice for them, unfortunately. And I understand that it is unfortunate, but they went ahead and made the decision to cancel all camps for the entire summer. So that means that all K-Dish, all Impulse, which I know you're not too familiar with Impulse, but Impulse is kind of the junior high version of K-Dish. That's canceled, and so ACU had to make a tough decision, and it's a big decision for them because not only is that a big thing for them and what they do every summer, to be quite honest, it's a moneymaker for them also, as you can imagine. So big choices are having to be made. Let's talk about Trek for a minute. This one was a tough one, and ultimately, I'm the one that has made this decision. Now, I expect that this decision will be made for me anyway. I got onto a Zoom conference call on Monday with many group leaders and the directors and full-time staff at Trek. So they were just kind of asking us, where is your church right now? What are you thinking? Where are your hearts right now? And I just kind of let them know where we were, and the other group leaders did as well. And one of the things that they needed from us is they needed a firm yes or no by April 15th, whether or not we were going to come to Trek. And they're going to have a board meeting on April 20th, and they're going to use some of that information to help make a determination of what they're going to do for this summer. They have a few different options that they were considering, and to be quite honest, none of them were really very good. If Trek decides to go ahead and move forward and conduct Treks this summer, there are a few things that would have to be put into place. And these regulations are coming from authorities, not necessarily just from Trek. So they're having to abide by national law. They're having to abide by state regulations, then by county regulations, then by forest regulations, and on top of that, they're going to have to abide by whatever the CDC says as well. Okay, so they've got a lot of hoops that they've got to jump through even to hold camp, and this is one of the big things that camps are. They're pushing out all over the country. Is they're having to make these determinations of whether or not they're going to have camp, and it's not just their decision. It is the decision of state officials, of local officials, and it's an unfortunate situation. So if we went on Trek, here's some of the things we would have to do. First of all, everyone before they got on the vehicle would have had to be tested in some way. Now, it's unclear what that would have looked like. Whether that would not have probably been a COVID test, it probably would have been more of a fever test, something like that. We would have had to ensure that whoever got onto our vehicles was well before we left. And then on the way, we would have to log every stop we make, where it was, when it was, and how long we were there. Okay, so consider from here all the way into northern New Mexico. This is what we're going to have to do. Now, I'm not opposed to doing something like that. In fact, it may even make good sense to just kind of know where we've been and those sorts of things. However, there's something inherent in that tells me if I'm having to do that, then there's something that is potentially unsafe about travel right now. So that is a requirement that New Mexico is putting into place. In fact, if we were going to Colorado, it would even be worse because this is the first time I've ever done Trek in New Mexico or scheduled Trek in New Mexico. I've always done it in Colorado. Well, Colorado has completely closed their borders to people that are not from Colorado. Outsiders not allowed right now. So New Mexico is even less stringent than that. But then if someone in our group got sick while at their facility. They're at Glorieta, which is where they hold their camp, their trek from. If someone got sick, whether on their base camp or up in the mountains, then our entire group would have to be quarantined for 2 weeks minimum. That is 2 weeks from the time that person got sick. So if someone else got sick along the way, then that would push that 2 weeks forward even further. So we're looking at a minimum of 2 weeks if someone on our trip got sick, quarantined in New Mexico, and Trek's honestly trying to figure out whether or not they can even do that with their facilities because they're not necessarily set up for quarantining a group of people, and so who knows what that would really look like. So amidst the cost of Trek and the commitment that that is in and of itself, along with all of the uncertainties, my expectation is that Trek is probably going to pull the plug anyway. But just in full disclosure, I'm the one that made the ultimate decision on Trek this year. And then with Bandina, a little more information there, and that's simply that the Bandina Camp Bandina has its own board, and they have their own rules and regulations that we have to abide by. And they met together and made the decision as a camp board to suspend all camp sessions for the entire summer. So it wasn't directly related to Grace Crossing or to the Halstead group, as we're called. Um, it's directly related to camp in general. So this is really weird. I mean, this will be my 17th summer to do full time youth ministry, and it'll be closer to goodness 20 years total that I've done formal youth ministry in the summer, even as an intern. And this is the most odd, bizarre thing that I've ever come across. This summer is going to be very, very different, and it's unfortunate. I'm sad. In fact, Monday, whenever I was hearing all of this, and on these meetings and trying to figure out what we're going to do about things, it was like this weird weight was just hanging on me, and I was just very down and disheartened with a lot of things. But you know, the, I want to kind of encourage you for a minute, because the one thing that I want you to know is that we at Grace Crossing, and specifically in the youth ministry, we're going to explore every avenue that we have to continue to do youth ministry throughout the summer. It'll look different. There's no doubt it will look different, because we're not going to be doing any overnight trips. That being said, there's a lot of things that, as long as the regulations kind of loosen and this time of quarantine and stay at home order uh, gets loosened, then if Grace Crossing as a church can come to an understanding that we're going to meet again, whatever that looks like, then uh, we as a youth group will get together, and we will continue to do ministry. There's lots of things that we can do. There's lots of things that we do even when we're not on trips. And maybe there are some other day trips that we can do. But at the end of the day, I want you to know and have confidence that we're not just stopping ministry. That is not going to end. We're going to explore all of our options, and we're going to find ways to be fruitful this summer, to be impactful to the teenagers, to you as parents, and make an impact in our community. Now, I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know what service opportunities are even going to look like. There may be organizations that say that we cannot bring a group. So, you know, one of the things that we were planning on doing this summer was to partner with a service opportunity, whether it was the Montgomery County Food Bank or Mercy House or who knows. So there's plenty of options, and they may say that we can't have outside groups come and do that. And if that's the case, then that's the case. We will continue to figure something out, and I want you to know that. Now, if you have any ideas, I welcome them. I can't guarantee that we would do your idea, but the more information that I've got, the more ideas that I've got, the better opportunity that I have to be prepared for that. So I want you to know that you are loved, that you are prayed over regularly by me. I'm doing my best to stay in contact with all of you, and I want you to know that if there's anything that I can do, if there's even if it's as small, and this is not a small thing at all, but if I can pray with you, I would love to get on a video chat with you and pray with you, or even on a phone call. If there's something that I can do greater than that, let me know. As long as it's safe and as long as it makes sense, then I will do the very best to my ability to do that. So know that I love you, know that I care about you, and also know that this is very difficult for me to have to make these announcements. I'm thankful that Luke is still able to come this summer. I think that's going to be a blessing, and who knows, if things kind of go the way uh, the officials and those that are understanding about how we're doing things, if some things change, maybe by May, early June, we're able to open some things back up, and hopefully things will get back to some sort of normal sooner than later. But in the meantime, keep the faith. Continue to be reaching out and letting me know how things are going. Love your family hard. Find ways to be relational with them. In fact, I saw one of our teenage families was having a Scrabble night outside yesterday. It was awesome. It's great. Wow, family game nights are great. Devotionals are great if you have time. Taking time to pray together every day at 5:17. Grace Crossing is getting together as a church family and we're praying. So I hope you're stopping and praying at 5:17. In fact, that time is coming up soon. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and end here. Don't forget that we do have life group tonight. I will put out another video for class on Sunday morning for Easter, and we'll go from there. So, thank you for taking the time to listen right now and watch our video. If there's anything I can do, let me know. Thank you.